Judges 1. The story of how we must persevere as Christians, of the faith that we stand for against sin and sinners in the face of the world. So, after the death of Joshua, the tribes of Israel asked the Lord, which tribe shall enter first into the promised land? They were blessed with the opportunity of now being able to enter into it. Now, it was amongst the 12 tribes that Judah was called to be the first tribe to enter into the promised land. Now, God promised that Judah will succeed. The land will be in his hand. And as Judah was promised success, he called his brother Simeon, tribe of Simeon. Now remember, let's not confuse these tribes as people. These are tribes, groups of people. So we're not talking about Genesis, we're talking about tribes, groups of people. So these two tribes would work together to fight the Canaanites and the Perizzites, and they would have victory against the neighboring Gentile brother tribes. I emphasize on this. This is brotherhood. Judah and Simeon went out into the land of promise to fight against the Canaanite and Perizzite brothers. Judah and Simeon. Let's work on that. They were both brothers. They were both siblings. Now, in our modern day culture, what do we find? This goes to somewhere else, this goes somewhere else. Nobody seems to be really a brother to one another. No one seems to be really a sister to one another. It seems that Simeon over here might just have no connection to Judah. Judah might have no connection to Simeon, because they're just going their own ways with their own friends, with their own cliques. But no, God calls us to love our brothers. Remember, it's a very great commandment to love our brothers. If we cannot love our brother who we can see, how can we love the Lord who we cannot see? Remember that. Judah and Simeon, both were brothers, entered into the land of promise. And you might ask, well, what did God fulfill? What did God give in their hand? Well, they would have victory against Adonai-Bezek. There was a king, a very ruthless king, Adonai-Bezek. Sounds like Adonai, the God of Jehovah's name, Adonai. Interesting thought, just what I came across. This king was a very ruthless king. This king would mutilate his enemies. He would cut their toes and cut their thumbs. And he would do this for 70 kings. This form of torture, though, it would come upon him. He would suffer this torture. He would suffer it, and he would say, God, I have sinned against you. I have sinned against you, Lord. I have sinned against you. And he was brought into Jerusalem, and he would die. Interestingly enough, the holy city of the Lord, Jerusalem. So now, they would say Jerusalem. This king was being brought to Jerusalem. The next verse after that would talk about how Judah would conquer Jerusalem. And then after that, they would continue fighting in the valley, the south, and the mountains. They would continue fighting after conquering Jerusalem. So even though they conquered the most prestigious city, they still continued fighting. Remember that, even if we have great blessings in life, we should continue fighting. Don't lose your faith when you've been blessed. Continue in your faith because you've been blessed. Now, after this, there was 2 cities. We'll go through these names: Hebron and Debir. Now it says that it shows the original names, but let's go with the usual Hebrew names because we're most familiar with them. Caleb, he would see these 2 cities, but he would point specifically to Debir. Deborah was a very, very, very well guarded and well protected city, based on the fact of what he promises to the Israelites. He says, if any of you has the faith to enter the city of Deborah, you will win my daughter. Now, Deborah, who has the faith to enter the city, very, very, very well guarded, very well protected, and must have been pretty gutsy to do. Deborah, who has a manhood, who is a man to enter the city of Deborah? And would anyone like to enter the city of Deborah? God might call you to be a man. He'll say, son, I want you to do something that no man has ever done, and that's to be a man. That's what Caleb called the Israelites to do. And he says, in the end, in return, I'll give you my daughter. That's a very powerful, if not, it's not something we see regularly. So Othniel, the son of Kenaz, would come out and have the guts, or that's what the seculars might say, he had the faith. That's a better term. He had the faith. Othniel the son of Kenaz. And who was he? He was Caleb's nephew. He was Caleb's nephew. The son Othniel. That's right. He had the faith to continue. He had the faith. Say, I want to enter the land of Deborah. So, after this, we come to the daughter of Caleb, who she would marry to Othniel, and she would ask Caleb for lands of springs of water. Very, very interesting. She would ask for it. She doesn't just take the land and say, this is mine. She asks. Before you do anything, you must ask for it. Sometimes as Christians, we just like to take things that doesn't belong to us, but that's stealing. It's against God's commandment. Remember, always ask. Don't ever take. Caleb would be greeted by her, and she would say, Caleb, I want some land in the upper springs and lower springs. For some water. I want some water. I want land with water in it. Caleb would go, okay. Caleb, psst, look, girlie, my daughter, honey, you get the land. And there we go. That's what happens. Caleb just gives it to her. So it shows that fatherhood and the manhood of giving. Sometimes as men we think, giving isn't giving stuff. We shouldn't be spoiling our children. But Caleb gave land to his daughter. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with giving. Giving is not spoiling. Giving is blessing. Remember that. Don't ever think that we're not to give. Remember, Jesus always commands us to give. Alright. Well, I'm going to deal with it. This is just a simple teaching on Judges 1. I hope you enjoyed it. This is a very powerful story of brotherhood. Now, this story just goes over brotherhood and faith and request. So I'll just make a point. So it goes over brotherhood, faith, and request. These three things society lacks: brotherhood, faith, and request. We don't seem to be connected amongst each other anymore. We seem to be doubting amongst ourselves now, and we don't seem to be asking God for things anymore. As it says in Revelation, the Laodicean church doesn't ask for anything from God. They don't feel they need God. So remember, brotherhood. Love the brothers. Love the sisters. Faith. Always have faith. The Lord has given it to you. Take it and use it. And last of all, request. Ask God for what you need. Don't think that you can't ask God for anything. He will give it to you if you ask. Ask and you shall receive, as it says in the King James, in Matthew's Gospel. Alright. God bless you all. I hope you were edified by this teaching, and thank you for watching for Judges 1, Part 1. Thank you.